Well, well, well. All of us here at the show are coming up on a big anniversary. The anniversary of the time one of our coworkers, or maybe I should say two of our coworkers, dumped a brand new 60 some $1,000 rental vehicle into a swimming pool. Enjoy.
We always have an odd one in the crowd.
So it's kind of odd.
Decidedly odd.
Doesn't that strike you as a little bit odd?
No, that doesn't strike me as a little bit odd.
It's the Bob and Sheri Oddcast, with stuff we wouldn't, couldn't, or shouldn't do on the regular show. Now, here's the Oddcast.
Well, our SUV rolled into a pool last night and is totaled. It's gone. And today we're going to be scrambling to get another vehicle to go to Bangor. So far, what we've come up with, because, you know, Hudson is a wonderful town. It's a great town, but it's a small town. It's going to be Jerry driving me on a motorcycle with a sidecar. So far, we've got that going. And speaking of Hudson, New York, do come up here. It's a beautiful part of America, the Hudson Valley, and it's famous,
Very welcoming.
very welcoming, and it's very forgiving. And it is famous for Rip Van Winkle, the legend. As a matter of fact, last night, Jerry went back and forth over the Rip Van Winkle Bridge 7 times. The toll taker thought he was dealing, I think, after a while.
Can I tell you, our promotions person, Rachel, is in the woods right now looking for the little magical people to put her to sleep for 100 years.
That's where I was going. That's the legend of Rip Van Winkle.
God.
That's exactly right. All right. So everybody's been talking about this. It's blown up on Facebook because the picture is just so ridiculous.
I was only allowed to post one, and I put it on the Bob and Sheri Facebook. Right now, it's the only place you can see the car in the swimming pool. Can we say hi to Andrew at 888-BOB-SHERI? Hey, Andrew.
Hi. Before I say anything, I actually, you guys, I'm your biggest fan. I listen to you pretty much every morning. And this morning, as I was playing the house, I happened to hear the story. And I have a question. What was the setup for it actually going into the pool?
Well,
Evil elves.
I can tell you what I know. I didn't actually see it happen. I saw the aftermath. So we're staying at a campground that is very wooded and hilly, and the people are wonderful. Now they hate us now, but they were really nice to us yesterday. And the chase, we have an RV which was docked in the campground, and we have the chase vehicle which we rented. And the chase vehicle was parked out in front of the RV, and it was nighttime. It was almost 10 o'clock, if I'm right. And Rachel and I were in the RV talking about today and putting the kids to bed and turning off the lights and everything, when suddenly one of our team members threw the RV door open and yelled something at me. It took 3 passes before the sounds coming out of her mouth began to sound like our car is in the pool. And I stepped out of the RV and turned left, and I saw our chase car, which is covered in Bob and Sheri pictures and our NASCAR Hall of Fame logos and our RV Crazy hashtag, bobbing in the pool like the Titanic. And I almost died from the shock and panic. I haven't slept all night. I am out of my mind, Andrew. How did it get from where it was parked into the swimming pool? Brother, I wish I could tell you.
I can tell you. Wheels.
Yeah, and everyone's saying, how did it end up in the pool? Wasn't there a fence? Well, car at the top of the hill, pool at the bottom of the hill. Pool, newly renovated and surrounded by a chain link fence. I don't know why the car went through the fence and into the pool as opposed to into a bush or a tree, but that's what it did.
Let me just say that when you see this picture on Facebook, you will say somebody planted that car.
People have
that
asked
way.
me, is it Photoshopped?
Is it Photoshopped? Because, you would think it would be halfway in. You would think it would have, maybe a wheel went in. It went in and took, it's like it shows its perfect form. It's
posing in the pool like Miss July.
Exactly.
Now, Jerry, our engineer, arrived on the scene because I'm hysterical. I'm in shock. I can barely. Jerry arrived on the scene. Tell Andrew and everyone what you saw, Jerry, when you came.
But just before you do that, Max, is the Titanic music absolutely necessary?
I'm sorry. Just adding a little production value to it, you know.
Yeah. All right.
When as we came down the mellow path into the nice, mellow, dark
So cozy.
background, cozy, beautiful, quiet, peaceful
Very
campground. There were 12 fire trucks, 5 rescue squads, a boat they were getting ready to put in the pool for the divers.
Rescue divers? Because our car is in the pool?
Yeah. We need them for our career.
3 of the local county sheriffs, a
State troopers.
wonderful lady from the state as a state trooper, plus 2 other state troopers, I believe. About 200 spectators. Beautiful lighting.
The lighting was amazing, Bob. We looked amazing.
You didn't tell me that. That's
We looked
great.
good. We looked good.
From the RV to the pool, the car had to have made a left turn and a right turn.
Yeah. Now
It's a smart car. What can you say? I mean, you know what? Artificial intelligence is real, people.
again,
It's
the
real.
only time I've ever seen this has been in Cannonball Run.
What's that?
Maybe there was some TV show where they had a car. It was part of the wackiness.
Max, help me. My mind is blank because I'm in shock and I haven't slept. What is it called when artificial intelligence gets so smart that it outsmarts humans? There's a word for it. It's the something.
How?
It happened last night
Yeah.
at Indian Ridge Campground.
Yeah.
We've arrived at that moment.
Andrew, I hope that answers your question. Thank you so much for your concern and for being a great listener. We really appreciate it.
Hey, everybody. It's Bob and Sheri and our social media director, Heather, with a big hello to you.
Cheers. Monica Winter just posted, now can you tell the truth about the SUV in the pool?
No.
You know, the thing is, the truth about the SUV in the pool would not impact anyone who is with the Bob and Sheri show today. But it would impact people that are not with the Bob and Sheri show. So we cannot reveal the secret of the SUV.
I can't hear you.
We cannot reveal the whole story of the SUV in the pool.
Oh, no, not. Although I don't know why, really.
Statute of limitations.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Let's just say
If you're a new listener or new to just our little Bob and Sheri world,
let me get that picture.
We were touring.
while you're chatting.
We were touring the United States out west in RVs and also up north. And we were in the Hudson Valley and at the campground. I was staying in a hotel, of course. And I went to bed and then I got a phone call that the car, it was a $60,000 brand new GMC, had slipped out of gear somehow and rolled down a hill. And it could have rolled into a lot of different areas. Thank God it didn't roll into a tent or something.
It had that smart navigation
into a swimming pool that the RV park had. And with our pictures, Sheri's picture and my picture on the side. And people, even though there was gas leaking out of the SUV, people were jumping in the water while their friends took pictures of them next to our faces as we sank to the bottom of the pool.
Yeah. I'm looking for it. It's in my favorites here somewhere.
Oh, you have to. It's in your
I have
favorites?
it. Oh, brother, I have it because you'd be surprised at how many times people stop me and want to see a picture of the SUV in the pool. And 98% of the story of how the SUV went into the pool. We've always been really honest about that. We just saved the names and the motivations of the guilty party.
Right.
Because, oh my God, show me the damn SUV.
That was a really tricky time because the CEO of that was like 3 or 4 ownerships back.
Yeah.
I think we had 5 ownerships in 5 years, something like that. Which is another reason why we sort of moved on down the road to Bob and Sheri Incorporated. He was not a fan. He didn't realize that we were carrying the station financially during a period of time, and it really pissed him off. And when he heard that we sank a company vehicle worth $60,000, that didn't help us.
No, but you know what? The truth is that he was less pissed off about us sinking the $60,000 rental car than he was about the fact that we talked too much during the show.
Yeah.
The legend of the SUV, Suzanne Banks says, will be bigger in our minds than the actual story since our imaginations can run wild. Suzanne, that is such a good point, and yet I promise you the truth is even. That's some hot tea, girl. The truth, I think, might dazzle you.
Carol Wilkins Roy, I met you at the Sea Dog in Bangor right after that happened. Do you remember that? We sank it, and we got another vehicle, and our engineer Jerry and I drove that, and you guys were in the two RVs, and we did an appearance. It was like a sold-out appearance. There were I think there were about 400 people at the Sea Dog restaurant, which is right on the river in Bangor. You know what? That made me feel so good when everybody showed up, and we told this story, and nobody believed us.
That night at the Sea Dog, oh my gosh. So the night I had just gone to bed when somebody began banging on the camper door, yelling my name. I flung open the door, and the person on the other side of it said, "The car's in the pool, the car's in the pool." Well, that was the beginning. I never got to sleep that night. And the next day, we went to Hertz, where we had rented this $60,000 vehicle from, and explained that it was in a pool. Oh my God, our bad. And we needed another vehicle. And the person said to us with the straightest face I've ever seen, and I quote, "Ma'am, we have a policy where if a customer puts one of our vehicles into a body of water, we do not give them a second vehicle."
That's a good policy, actually.
So then we ended up at $1 rental car or whatever. We got another rental car, and we drove from, this was in Saugerties, New York. We drove from New York to Maine, pulled into the parking lot just in time. I was on adrenaline, fumes, disbelief, and 5-hour energy. That was I can close my eyes and it's like I'm back at the Sea Dog again. Everything, every color was brighter, every noise was louder. You know how you are when you've had an experience like that and you haven't slept,
right.
How you're just totally Full Metal Jacket jangly. So yeah, that was a good night, Bob.
But then we still had a good time. We met so many fantastic listeners in Pennsylvania, where else were we? Virginia, and then in Maine.
Oh, wait.
And we all went out to the Docksider restaurant in Northeast Harbor and had a lobster feast, and went to the top of Cadillac Mountain, which is the first place that sees daylight in the continental United States in the morning. And it's something to see. It's crowded in the summer.
It restores your faith. Let me read what Brandon Brown wrote. The picture in his mind that he has of the car sinking into the pool, he said that for him, that's like the Titanic going down in his all-time favorite mental pictures. And I just want to thank you for that, Brandon, because you're not the first dude to tell me the Bob and Sheri show was like the Titanic. And I just want to thank you for shouting that out tonight. But yeah, it's like that for us too. And honest to God, it felt like the Titanic going down, because as the car sank in the pool, the lights and the radio were on. So as it sank and the headlights went underwater, it illuminated the pool. So all around the Bob and Sheri pictures, which were, the water was at our chest, and then it was at our neck, and then it was at Bob's chin. And then the only thing we could see were his eyebrows, and then Chit Chat was down. But all around him, the pool was illuminated by the headlights.
You know what the worst thing was? They always put a photograph of you on these vans. They always put a wrap of you, and they coax like this unnatural smile out of you. You're like, you're like that. So to see that going into the water made it even worse.
It was awful. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was a night. And what were my kids doing? My kids sneaked my phone and were down taking selfies of themselves with it and sending them to their friends.
Children are heartless.
They're the worst. They are
are heartless. So what else is happening? You're back after a successful time with your brother and his family. Did you eat anywhere that was interesting? The Northeast has a lot of great food.
My brother and his wife got some good stuff delivered. Karamia and I got takeout. We went to this amazing little real Italian bakery in Montclair, New Jersey, which is gorgeous. And then we drove down to George Washington's headquarters, which it's right off the Garden State Parkway. There's so much American Revolutionary War history in that part of the Garden State. Then we went to Morristown, which has a lot of Revolutionary era history. And then we just kind of slowly made our way back. We had some cheesesteaks. You know, we had some real cannolis. We had some cheesesteaks. Nice. We do all that. Yeah, it was mostly it was just amazing to be able to, because I usually see my brother and his wife 3 or 4 times a year. And so to have gone without seeing them for a whole year was a really long time. I mean, that's like my family. That's what I have. Let's see. I'm looking over here to see, because I'm trying to read these. Valdosta, Georgia. Hey, Tammy, how are you doing? Teresa Broom, after hearing Bob, where'd it go? After hearing Bob talk about his return to radio, I now know why I used to win so many of the station's contests. I was the only one listening. Tell that story, Bob. Your very first day back in radio.
Say it again. What did she want?
Your very first day back in radio when you tried to give away movie tickets.
So I was in TV, and it was really a great job because I got to travel all around the world and not pay for anything. And I mean around the world, Hong Kong, the South Pacific, all over America, all over the South. We shot in probably 30 states. I loved going to Bora Bora, and everything was upbeat and fun. These are not hard news stories. They were really not puff pieces, but travel pieces, human interest stories. And it was me and a couple of guys generally. And so I did that for almost 10 years, but I saw that the show was going to be canceled probably within the next 3 years. And I had young kids. My kids were probably, 6 and 4. And so I thought, what are you going to do? You're going to go into a newsroom and be another guy in a newsroom? I just didn't see myself doing that. So the radio station that we've been talking about tonight was in terrible, terrible straits. They were losing, I think, $750,000 a year. And so I cut a deal with, because their format was terrible. They couldn't pull off Top 40. I don't know why, but they couldn't pull it off. And so I went to the president of the company and I said, look, I don't want to move and go into a newsroom in another city or whatever. Give me a shot at seeing what I can do to turn this radio station around. And he said, okay, we'll keep you at the same salary that you have now. You've got a year and a half. And I went, I'll take it. And so I thought, wow, this is, because I hadn't been behind a radio microphone in years. And I was running my own board, believe it or not, back then. And so it's 6:05. And I say hello to everybody, and they want me to give away, I don't know, movie tickets, something like that. Usually, you can go on a radio station that's fairly popular and say, I'll take the 7th caller for an early death. And the phones will light up. They just will. I keyed the mic, and I said, it's so great to be back. I am so excited. I love radio. I'm back again, and I'm going to do a little celebration thing to start things off. Let's make it the 10th caller, and you will get a 6-pack of tickets for whatever the hot movie was. So I thought it was a pretty good prize, 6-pack of tickets. And I looked down at the phone, and I'm going, all right, it takes a while to dial. Yeah. No one was listening.
That's so, mind-blowing. Not one person. I mean, I'm not arguing.
There was probably a few listening, but usually the percentage would have to have been so low for no one to call and say, I would like to win those tickets. And I started to get the sweats, to be honest with you. I thought, what have I done? What have I taken on? And they gave me a co-host who was, I don't want to run over time, who was not very good. I had to fire him. They tried to put me together with, everybody's heard radio stations like this, where the guy's the big blowhard and the woman on the show, does the traffic or the weather and just giggles. And I just didn't want to deal with that. And the ratings were not good after 6 months. So I had 1 year left. And then I bumped into Sherry Lynch. They sent, it was a mercy call to do commercials to pump up my numbers. And we started chatting, and I just keyed the mic, and we went on. And people stopped right in front of the window and started listening. And I knew that.
And look at this. We're still here. and we still talk each other's head off on and off the air.
Right.
You know, like you complete me, Bob. You know, you do. You just, you know, you complete me. You do.
So
Bob's
that's the story.
nickname. Bob's nickname for a long time, in just amongst us on the show, was the savior of Jefferson Pilot.
It's true.
Remember, Tony?
Yep.
So, but you know what? The thing that made it funny was how true it was. That was the thing that made it so funny.
I can't say that, but
really
those were exciting but dangerous times. And if I hadn't found you, I really don't know what would have happened. I think perhaps it would not be quite as feathered a nest as I had had for all these years.
You know, it's wild because you always, with every choice you make, like all kinds of choices explode to you and some shut down. But you really can't imagine what your life would have been had you gone another way. Think about it. Because you could have stayed in TV. You could have stayed in TV and been the host of Pick One, How It's Made, The Food That Built America, Abandoned Places, Mysteries at the Museum. You could have been you could have been Dancing with the Stars. You could have been anyone and all of those guys.
I was a little ahead of my time with the Travel Channel came along, because that's what I specialized in, was travel pieces, funny travel pieces. The Travel Channel came along about 5 years after I went back to radio. So I kind of missed that window there. But, you know, this is what I was meant to do.
Happy car in the pool anniversary. And now you know why we don't do RV trips anymore and why we're not even allowed to use the bathroom while we're working, because we can't be trusted around water. Our website is BOBANDSHERI.com. Thanks for hanging out and listening to this episode of the Oddcast. Don't forget, every Friday in this feed, you will find Talking Lamar and True Weird Stuff everywhere you get your podcasts. Have a great one. We'll see you next time.